Hi, guys. Welcome back to Sub 2 Shanna. This is The Way, episode number 39. Today, I have Mr. David Fraden on the show. David has a project management and marketing company called Spice Catalyst. He has a blog, he has a podcast, he has workshops and courses on his website, and so much more that we'll get to talk about today. Welcome, David.
Glad to be with you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Spice Catalyst.
Now, we're a worldwide product management, product success, and marketing company. We teach the principles of product management. Our number one client is Cisco, and we've trained about half of all of Cisco's product managers worldwide over the past 10 years. We have also a number of podcasts on our website and blogs about different aspects of product management. And we talk about and teach the 5 keys to product success, which is important because about 35% of all new products fail in the marketplace each year. And it's primarily because the management of those products are not following the 5 keys to product success.
Oh, wow. What are the 5 keys to product success?
Well, it's summarized in my Spice name for Spice Catalyst. Spice is a mnemonic. The S stands for strategy or product market strategy, the strategy for the product in the market. The P stands for repeatable processes, which you have to have in order to have process maturity and which leads to success. The I stands for having the information necessary to make informed decisions about your product and the marketplace that you're trying to go into. The C is the most important, which is understanding your customer, what it is that your customer wants to do, when they want to do it, why they want to do it, how they want to do it, where they want to do it, what's standing in their way, and how important is it to get that thing done, and how satisfied is your prospective customer with the current way of getting things done. And the E stands for the 130 competencies or skill sets an organization has to have in order to have a successful product.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, so it's an acronym.
Mnemonic.
What's that?
A mnemonic is, it stands for something. An acronym would be something that's short for something.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks for clearing that up for me because I always thought an acronym was like each letter stands for a word. That's what I thought.
No,
Okay.
like incorporated, INC is an acronym for the word incorporated.
Okay. All right. So I was looking on your website here and I see that you said you have a few podcasts, more than
Yeah.
one.
Well,
Wow.
I have my own called Product Success Issues, which I recorded just before COVID, and then I've appeared on a number of other podcasts.
Oh, okay. So you have a podcast, but then you have episodes from other podcasts on your
Correct.
website. So hopefully you can add this one to it.
Certainly, it'll be right up there near the top.
All right. Nice. And then I also saw that you have not just one book, but several books written.
That's if you just search for my name as an author on Amazon, all of my books will come up. And on my website, there's links to all of my books. I also have a textbook that Wiley published. It's only 796 pages long, and it goes into detail. And it's used in 2 executive management MBA level courses at 2 leading universities in India. And about 1,000 executives in India have gone through it so far.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we have, what are the titles of your book roughly? Unless you want me to.
Successful Product Design and Management, that is the Wiley book. And then Building Insanely Great Products is mine, and also Organizing and Managing Insanely Great Products, which is focused for HR and CEO level people that want to put together a good product success or product management department.
How to facilitate work on product teams workbook. Oh, okay. So some of these are workbooks.
Yeah, and they're uh, workbooks that are used then with the textbook, the Wiley textbook I mentioned earlier.
Okay. All right. So tell us about your podcast.
Well, it tries to delve into the issues that product success managers have in having a product developed that meets into a specific market need, and then reaching into the marketing of the product, how to best market it so that your sales force can go in and close sales and close deals.
Okay. And also so you help with products, but you also help with services, right?
Correct.
What kind of
Services.
service?
A service is an intangible product. You generally cannot touch it. A product
Mhm.
is something that you can touch, but they are treated exactly the same way in terms of product success.
Okay. All right. How would you relate that to like real estate?
Well, the key thing there is for the person selling and the real estate agent handling the sale, they need to position in the marketplace their particular property in terms of its amenities, its capabilities, its location, its tax, education, uh, grocery stores, safety, and that kind of stuff, and then market it to people that are interested in those characteristics, and do that through the medium that those prospective buyers would be going to in order to find a suitable property. So up until what 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have things like Zillow and
Mm.
some of the other types of websites. So now it's a much more complex, including social media marketing activity.
So, what can you tell our investors that are watching,
Well,
real
like
estate
the
investors?
well, it's like the old saying about real estate. It's location, location, location.
Mhm.
And that's part of the product market strategy, which includes such things as understanding your market, understanding your competitors, understanding how to position the property in the marketplace. And then that boils down to the value proposition and the marketing messages that are used in the marketing mix.
Yeah, we do. We do a lot of fix and flips. We do pre foreclosures. We help all the sellers with things that they aren't really able to do traditionally, basically. So, what's I know you've probably been doing this for a while, right?
Yeah, I
So,
started in product management at Hewlett Packard back in 1980. I'm only 25 years old right now, and uh, and then Apple recruited me to bring the first hard disk drive to market on a personal computer. It was very cheap. It was only $3,500. It had tremendous capacity. It was 5 megabytes in size, which is about the amount of space this podcast took up over the last 30 seconds. And then they noticed I knew how to manage, and they asked me to take over as the group product manager for the Apple III product line, which at the time was the one of the two profitable product lines that Apple had. And then later, they asked me to become the business unit manager, or BUM, for an independent business unit that I recommended for the Apple III.
so no wonder you're a big Apple fan. Besides,
Well,
Pace
actually,
love that.
they gave me a nice severance package in 1984, so I left the company and didn't keep was unable to what do you call it, accrue or the
Mm.
25,000 shares,
Ooh.
which today would probably be worth 5 or 6 $100 million. And if I had that, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be laying
Oh
on the
my
beach.
god. What? You wouldn't be
But
talking to the little guys like me?
I just lay on the beach and drink beer. But
Right.
I started buying Apple stock back in 2005 because the way that Steve Jobs was running the company after he came back, I could see that he was doing all the right things that he had learned in part from getting mentored by Dave Packard of Hewlett Packard fame. And
Mm.
I knew Dave because I used to handle his personal PR as chairman of the board when I was in the corporate PR department of HP. So I was really glad that I found this in the research for my book, Building and Selling Great Products, that after Steve's failure with the early Macintosh and getting fired over sales drying up to just four computers in January of 1985, and after he had killed the Lisa product line, he had nothing to sell. He had put out a product that had only 128K of memory, no hard disk drive, only one floppy drive, no letter quality printer, and no real software that you could do things. No real word processing, no real spreadsheet. Uh, and uh, and then he left and started a company called Next, which when I was asked by Business Week about it, when I was the associate director of a market research company on personal computers called DataQuest, the reporter, she asked me, what did I think of Next? I said, you mean last? And he had mispositioned his $10,000 computer in the marketplace. So that company failed. And he had acquired Pixar, and Pixar was on the ropes and having difficulties. So in 1989, Steve sought out Dave Packard to help him out. And by the time he came back to Apple, I think it's around 1997, he was a changed man. He now believed that he could obsolete and cannibalize his own products, which he did not believe in the early 80s and late 70s when he was at Apple. In fact, the product manager for the Apple III was Steve Jobs. And I took over his job, and one of the product managers for the Apple III went on to found Electronic Arts, and it was very, very successful there. But Steve corrected all of the mistakes of the first Steve Jobs, the bad Steve Jobs, and became the good Steve Jobs. I remember a reunion of the Apple employees about 10 years ago. I said, if Apple in the beginning had the good Steve Jobs, it would probably become the most valuable company in the world. And sure enough, what about 5, 6 years ago, Apple became the most valuable company in the world because the principles that he was emphasizing when he came back have all worked out. Most importantly, Apple values, following some values in terms of all their decision making.
Wow. I just graduated in 89, so I was just a little teeny bopper. So that's awesome that you got to be a part of that. So what would have been your struggle since you started Spice Catalyst?
The problem is finding new clients like Cisco. And part of the
Mm,
problem is a company probably has to have some product failures and have the management stay there and say, hey, we got to fix our product management, our product success activities in order to be successful. The first, they have to identify that they have the need. And second, they have to have a sense of urgency. Unfortunately, it turns out whenever we have things like the Great Recession or COVID, CEOs and CFOs retreat and stick their head in the sand and don't believe in the importance of training their people. Whereas some companies believe in training their people. And in fact, that's one of the things that Packard taught Steve Jobs is during a downturn or a recession, go train your people more than the other guy so that you can come flying out of that recession with a great deal of success. And that's exactly what Dave Packard did with HP. And they
mm.
weathered 6 different recessions since 1938 when they were started. And they always came out beating their competition
Wait a
because they
minute,
spent the time.
38?
1938.
Did we have computers back then or did they do something else?
So they started in instrumentation, and the first thing they invented was a device that was used to make the music for Disney's Fantasia movie.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's
So it's pretty
amazing.
much an instrumentation company for many years. And then finally, they got into the mini computer business probably in the late 70s.
Okay.
And then they were also late to the personal computer business, primarily because they were a highly decentralized company with individual divisions never being over 500 people. So when I was there was like 40 some of those different divisions. But the cathode ray tube display on the PC was from one division. The keyboard was from another division. The central processing unit was from another division. The networking cards were from another division. And because of its highly decentralized focus, it found itself very difficult to put a system together with all of those components. So that's one of the reasons they were late to the commercial computer business. But before that, they had before the HP 3000, which was their business side computer, which I worked on in terms of some software for that. They had the HP 1000, which was a technical computer, which could crunch the numbers coming from their instrumentation products.
Oh, wow. Okay. Um, Trying to follow all that. It's like, and here I thought I was tech savvy. What else did you want to tell us about Spice Catalyst?
I think that's about it. Just follow me on LinkedIn and connect with me to stay in touch there. You can send me an email at dave@spicecatalyst.com, and we can keep in touch. And if you need some help or some training, just let me know.
Okay, so here's all the ways to get a hold of Dave. Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your blog?
I try to cover issues dealing with product success. So there are, for example, in the case of your product market strategy, by the way, when I say market strategy, uh, that is a market is like a grocery store. It's a place where you go.
Mhm.
Marketing is getting people and companies to go to that market and buy stuff. So there are
Okay.
32 components to your product market strategy. I mentioned some of them earlier. And so the blog talks about those types of things as it pertains to help educate product success managers to become more successful themselves and for their product or their service to be more successful.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I want to thank you for coming on the show, Dave. I have two questions that I like to ask all my guests. And the first one is, what does success look like to you?
It's being able to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. And I think the second thing is it makes you happy to get those things accomplished.
Okay. So, like reaching your goals and then the gratitude that you feel for reaching
Yeah,
your goals.
yes.
Okay. And then also, if you had one piece of profound advice that could help people in their careers or in their personal lives as well, what would that be?
Uh, Decide what your values are. And then when you go to work for somebody or start your own company, make sure that the organization you're associated with follows those values, has values and follows them. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy. And the
Okay, so
way
like a mission statement.
no, a mission statement is a combination of a set of values and your vision of where you want to go. You put that
Mhm.
together, it creates a mission statement. But the foundation, the fundamentals is the values. For example, Apple's values are empathy for our customers, achievement and aggressiveness, positive social contribution, individual performance, team spirit, innovation and vision, individual growth and reward, quality excellence, and good management. It's very similar to the HP way, which is the values that Hewlett Packard had back in 1938. And that was a major reason why HP grew 25% a year every year from 1938 until about 1998, when the sales lady, Carly Farina, came in as president and threw out the HP way as a set of values. And HP has been spiraling into oblivion almost ever since because they lost their way. They lost their values.
Oh,
So
wow.
when I wrote my book, Building and Sailing Great Products, I went back to the Fortune 500 list from 1965 And because I had organized a national student organization when I was in college in support of the SST and later in support of science and technology, I was very familiar with most of the Fortune 500 companies because those are the ones that I called upon to raise money for my student organization. So I made a
Mm.
list of those companies, and then I had a column that said, "Do they have values?" And the second column is, "Did they follow those values?" And the third column is, "Are they still in business?" And almost without exceptions, if a company had no values when they started and or did not follow their values over the years, they were no longer in business. But those companies that had values and followed values after 1965 were still around. And then I thought, and I'm getting to the point of your question and what I recommend to people, is that I wonder if that issue of values applies to me personally. So I made a list of about 25 organizations, nonprofits, profit making, homeowners associations, presidencies, and boards that I've been on.
Mhm.
And first column, did they have values? Second column, did they follow values? My third column is, did their values match into my values? Almost without exception, those companies that had values and followed them and matched it to me, I excelled at and I was very happy to work for and be at. And I was promoted. But for those companies where they had no values or they didn't follow their values, either I got fired or I quit. And I felt better the day after. It was almost like a mercy killing. So I told this friend of mine who manages my vacation rental on the beach in Maui, and because he had come back to the Bay Area where I live in Silicon Valley, and he was looking for a job. And I said, make sure that after they ask you all the questions that they want to ask in your interview, then you ask them, what are your values? And if they don't have any values, or if they express values, things like profit at all cost, the Ayn Rand treatise, um, then what you do is run away from them as fast as you can. Uh,
Mm.
have values that match it to yours. And he did this in an interview, and he ended up talking to the hiring manager. He told me afterwards for 4 hours about values. They hired him, and he said he's never been happier ever since because he went to an organization whose values mapped into his, and vice versa.
Right. So make sure your values align with where you want to position yourself.
Exactly.
Wow. I love that. That's golden. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Mhm. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. And thank you, Dave, for coming on the show. Reach out to Dave at his website or on LinkedIn. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.